Welcome to IT Live, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Joe Cook. Got Ian Boyd, got Justin Wells. It's Thursday. We finally get a weekend with some football. Excited to see, Farmageddon in a country that had a potato famine, but guess that's neither here nor there. But we're going to talk some Texas Longhorns, and we're going to talk some Texas Longhorns opponents. So make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Got some great announcements to get to. Of course, if you have not done so yet, head to InsideTexas.com, join the best Texas Longhorns community, join the best website for Texas Longhorns recruiting and team intel, coverage, analysis, everything, just $1. We'll throw in a year of The Athletic as well. So come join. That's the first link in our bio or in our description. Also by Paul Wadlington, Stinking Texas Football. Every position, every player, every opponent, every SEC team, a look at the landscape of college football, and then a look at the 2025 class from Eric Naline. One more announcement. Next week, Inside Texas turns 40. To celebrate, we got some trivia, some happy hours in Houston, Dallas, and Austin. Tuesday, August 26th at Big City Wings. I believe that's the marquee location, so about I-10 and Silber, right by the movie theater. Great restaurant. If you are looking for a wings place and a sports bar, well, Big City Wings is what you would think of in your head. Owner there, awesome guy, big Horn fan, big Astros fan. Then in Dallas on Wednesday the 27th, Katy Trail Icehouse, classic spot. Big old schooners I think they have still right in the middle of downtown Dallas. And then Thursday, August 28th, you'll see two of the people on this video there at Little Woodrow's on Burnet. That is just a plain bar, but there is a taco place next door. There's a burger place across the street. There's a Thundercloud right there. You can get food delivered. Great drink specials. Great place. One of my regular hangouts. So come see us there next week for the 40th anniversary tour. And it looks like we already got a super chat. Joshy Manning starting the day off right. Thanks for all your coverage, gents. Hey, we love talking about it. We're talking more and more about football. Always good to do that. Roaster, good morning. Davey Fockett, Southern Indiana. So that would be I have walked from Southern Indiana to Northern
Pawnee.
And that is a scary walk across the Ohio River. Jason, thank you. AR, Patrick. Yeah. Silver, west side of Houston, right by the widest freeway in the world. So come check that out. Ian, let's talk a little bit about Ohio State. We're talking Texas here on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, and let's go ahead and talk about their week one opponent. We kind of covered the Julian Sayin aspect of this, I'm sure, with Homer and with you and with Paul, all the different videos that we have here. But there are 21 other positions on the field. Ohio State doing some new things this year, whether that's at defensive coordinator, whether that's at offensive coordinator. But they do have that guy pictured. That's always going to be big. What else is going on in Columbus?
Quite a bit. They have a lot of turnover from last year. I think Patricia on the defense is some of the most interesting stuff. But maybe the most looming issue is their new tight end, Max Clare, and whether or not Ryan Day comes into this game thinking we're going to go in there and we're going to make Texas prove they can stop the run. We've been mauling our depleted defensive line in scrimmages, and now we're all puffed up and we feel good about our run game. Maybe we can just run the ball and protect Sayin and get out with a win. Or do they do what Sark did when he went into Tuscaloosa and say, I'm not going to bang my head against the wall and try to run against a team like that. We're going to spread it around. I'm going to try to see if Sayin can throw for 300, 400 yards with quick game and scripted shots. One of those I think is really dangerous to Texas, and the other is a lot less dangerous. That's going to be a theme for this next week. I'm going to talk about this a lot.
And I think, Justin, we all are big on Jack Endries, but there's a good contention that Max Clare may have been tight end one out of the portal off a pretty bad Purdue team.
Yeah. I'm so thankful he's in Columbus. because now you have an added weapon to pay attention to. He's only going to help Julian Saint's progression. He's only going to help him grow when you got a safety valve like that big guy. But yeah, Max Clare could be a very valuable weapon for Ohio State this year.
Ian, does he fit in your tight end quarterback theory? Does he fit the right mold for what Sayin is going to do?
No, not really. He's more of a receiving guy. Yeah, if they want to run the ball, they have other tight ends, though, that are good physical blockers. But the fear would be that they just don't even try that hard in the run game, and they just focus on throwing it quick and underneath. Yep, exactly. Just like Texas did to Michigan, just like Texas did to Alabama. If they try to run the ball against Texas with Claire or even with the big tight ends, it's just not anywhere near as scary.
And I think, Ian, I remember sitting by you watching this. Like, Texas held the ball for like 12 minutes in the second quarter up at Ann Arbor. Like, you can run ball control offense through the air. This from Sugar Daddy kind of coincides with what you're talking about. Did that national championship kind of change Ryan Day's ego? Like, I also feel like it doesn't seem like that was their strategy last year against Texas. And granted, nobody could really run well against Texas, but I don't think one game is going to end up making him, look for Lou Holtz behind every corner to get in his face.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the big reason they won the national championship was it was A, Day doing the kinds of things that he's always done, and then B, actually having Jim Knowles and a great defense to help them. Because I don't think last year's Ohio State offense was special compared to really almost any of the other offenses Day has built. But that Jim Knowles defense was very different from some of the other defenses they've taken in the playoffs. And that was the big difference. And now they don't have that anymore, or they have whatever Patricia is bringing to the table, which, as Paul wrote about today, we got to play some difficult guessing games to even know what that is. So
Caleb Downs, Justin, hands down one of the best football players in college football. Texas has played against him 3 years in a row now, which is going to be very intriguing. Xavier Worthy was running past him in Tuscaloosa not too long ago. But just from the idea of Matt Patricia being there, like, someone who hasn't coached college since he was a GA, someone whose assistance with a NCE on the Eagles was not really anything special. Like, how do you think this works? Maybe ahead of game one. I mean, I feel like it'll end up okay, but they don't like just okay in Columbus.
I mean, that's the risk you take when you lose a Jim Knowles and you replace him with a guy that hasn't been to college since the TV show Family Ties. Like, I mean, but Caleb Downs makes your job a lot easier. Like, no matter what Patricia does, he could screw something up. You got Caleb Downs back there. Like, he's going to make up for anything that may be lacking or missing. And that's the beauty of Caleb. Like, that kid comes down and brings hat. I'm actually tired of seeing him. It'll be nice to see him go to the NFL after this year, probably. I just think he makes up for whatever Patricia could be missing, if he's missing anything. This could work really well, or it could blow up in their face. But when you got a guy like Caleb Downs behind you, that'll make up for a lot.
And Ian, as you wrote, and as Papa Dot kind of brings up, they're changing him from maybe a little bit more of a eraser. Like, is Earl Thomas a bad comp here, to a playmaker who won't be doing Earl Thomas things?
I think Brandon Jones is the comp. I think what Caleb Downs does really well is play at like intermediate depth and close and tackle, and he loves being around the box. Justin, you remember we talked to Jones at a media days once, and he was like, I love being around the box. And I was like, he was like so fast. So you would think of him as like maybe a traditional safety, but where he came alive was playing around down there. I think that's true for Downs as well. I think the reason they're moving him around, knowing Patricia, is so that they can, no matter what formation Texas runs, they can put Downs near the action so that he can be a box safety and he can be just snuffing out everything Texas wants to do in the run game or in the quick passing game underneath. That's my suspicion. I don't think it's not like he's going to be their full-time nickel or something like that. It's going to be actually more, Joe, like he's going to be their eraser. And in the instances where you want the eraser at nickel, he'll be able to do it.
What do you make of this? He can't cover Ryan Wingo and Livingston at the same time.
That won't be his job.
Yeah,
somebody else.
That's nobody's job, you know. Like even a deep middle safety, a deep middle safety, like they don't want him covering too. I mean, I see what you mean, but I don't see that as like advantage Texas right there. Like it's just kind of that's how football works. And what I see, got a lot of different questions, but before we get to those questions, Ian, just some of the non-Caleb Downs players. You talk a little bit about some of the defensive linemen. It's not like, at least how we see it, a super elite defensive line. They've got some good. They picked up some portal players on edge, one from North Carolina, but they, this isn't like the fearsome Chase Young, Bosa looking defensive line that we've seen before.
Their guys are linebacker, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As it happens, that's better suited to the Belichick style. Belichick's preference was usually not to have superstar edges, but to have versatile linebackers that could be an edge or kind of like Trey Moore. Like Belichick's dream would be to have 3 or 4 Trey Moores on the field at all times, maybe bigger than Trey Moore, but that kind of guy. And then just call a blitz or a pressure to attack the weakest part of your offensive line rather than just trying to win mano a mano on the edges like most college teams do. And to that purpose, Ohio State has a pretty ideal lineup. Like their 2 starting linebackers are both like 6'4", 240 freaks.
One is like the heart and soul, because 0 for Ohio State looks like their O logo, the block O. So that's like a big deal. Is that
Styles or is that Reese? That's Styles, right?
Yeah. And they have I forget the wrestler from Lucas Lovejoy, and then they also have Riley Pettijohn. Who's the wrestler, Justin?
Peyton Pierce.
Yeah. Like they got some.
That kid is maniacal.
We'll get past the Ryan Day, unless you got a fresh Ryan Day impersonation you'd like to give to us.
I'd have to think on it. I'm not prepared on the spot.
I've got an impression of Ryan Day.
Let's hear it.
How do I beat Michigan?
That's a good one. Any more big defensive tactical stuff? A lot of questions. I'm going to hit some of the defensive questions, but a lot of them kind of center around, is this going to look like it looked like with Texas going against Wink Martindale, who was a defensive guy in the NFL, gets grabbed in the college game and tries to run his stuff in college, and at least in week 2 it didn't work very well. Will this kind of be a similar situation?
Well, we don't know for sure. I don't think so. But then for sure, Patricia's flaws in the NFL, it did not work that well for him away from Belichick. So if it didn't work for him at the NFL level, is he going to be good at scaling it down for college? I don't know. It's definitely a big question mark.
And this from Burt Reynolds: how can Sark consistently engineer one-on-one matchups on the outside or the deep middle to keep Downs out of the box? That's what he gets paid $10 million for,
Yeah, basically.
if Patricia wants downs in the box, there's not a whole lot you can do about it, other than like go 5 wide or something.
Yeah.
There's not. They can get one-on-ones outside. I think that will happen. Got to be careful what you wish for. Like, are we sure that Texas's outside receivers can get open against Ohio State's cornerbacks outside? I'm not entirely sure. I hope so.
Are the corners an upgrade from last year?
Well, my recruiting,
because if they're not, I like that
That's
matchup. If they are, that's going to be plus Ohio State.
Can they not get as many flags thrown on them when you're running maybe a 5-star super talented true freshman and someone who is maybe the most penalized defensive back in the country last year?
Hey, they ate 3 of those flags on Ryan Wingo being held last year. I for whatever reason. So I'm curious to see how that comes about. But the corners were a weakness last year that Texas wasn't able to exploit like they should have. I think if Matthew Golden is healthy that whole game, maybe they do. But if the corners are better, that's an advantage for Ohio State immediately. If they're the same or regressed, that's a push. I like where Texas is there.
If I were them, I might put the handsy guy, Big Ben Osten, on Livingston and hope that works out, and then bracket Wingo. I think that's what I would do if I were them. And then if Livingston is just torching their guy deep down the field, then you got to adjust.
Before we keep going, got to show some love to our sponsor, that is Academy, and they are working with Whataburger. Some things just go better together. Burgers and fries, Friday nights and football, and now Academy Sports and Outdoors and Whataburger. For a limited time, exclusive Academy and Whataburger tailgate gear is coming in hot. Fuel your pre- and post-game traditions with fan styles and game day gear that says, I tailgate like I mean it. This exclusive collaboration won't hang around long, so dig in at Academy Sports and Outdoors, where fun cannot lose. Kind of gone all over the place a little bit, but looking at some of the comments, maybe getting into how Texas offense is going to go. They run in the 3-3-5. That doesn't seem like a thing that Ohio State's one of those programs where you play a certain style of defense to deploy your playmakers, not to make up for the lack of playmakers. And sometimes a 3-3-5 takes away from that.
Their guys are all linebackers, though.
But are they that bad at defensive end and tackle?
They're that bad at defensive tackle, yeah. So if I were them, I would want to see that because I think that would suit their personnel better. Well, I don't know if me and Paul call it the Ohio State deep state. They got like that defensive line coach, Larry Johnson, was just impossible to work with for Jim Knowles. He's been doing his thing at a super high level at Penn State or Ohio State for like 20 or 30 years, cranking out NFL defensive tackles. And he's like, I got my way of doing things. This is how I do it. This is how it's going to be. The defensive coordinator can say whatever he wants. This is what we're actually going to be. And kind of like Texas had that with a certain defensive backs coach a couple times in the past that may or may not be back. If Patricia can get him on board, then they should do that. But that's not been that easy at Ohio State.
What else do we need to go over? Looking maybe at a little bit of the offense. I think we can't ignore the Jeremiah Smith part of this. Luckily for Texas, Emeka Egbuka has moved on. Carnell Tate's still there. Brandon Ennis is still there. Max Clare's still there. This is like nobody recruits wide receiver better than Ohio State. So what do? Do they kind of do what they did last time, or maybe deploy a new strategy, or what?
They're not going to let Julian Sayin run the football like they did Will Howard, I would think.
I don't think Julian Sayin's going to let Julian Sayin run the football.
No, this is a different offense. You don't have a Travion Henderson. Like, that was a bell cow. You don't have a Quinshon Judkins. Like, those guys are getting NFL snaps right now. I think that's significant. Of course, they're going to replace those guys. I'm not even sure who the tailbacks are, but I promise you they're replacing them.
Their running back situation maybe
didn't they get the Donaldson kid from West Virginia?
It kind of looks like Texas right now in a certain extent. Like you have C.J.
Good, but not great.
C.J. Donaldson, who is a converted tight end, who Chad Scott made into a really good running back.
For West Virginia, yeah.
And then James Peoples, who went to Veterans Memorial High School. In
San Antonio kid that Texas actually offered but didn't push for.
Yeah, right by Retama.
It's a good comparison, Joe. That they're good, but not necessarily great. And I think that bodes well for Texas because I think they want to pin their ears back. I think they want to attack this kid.
Ian, what haven't we talked about? What questions haven't we answered about the Buckeyes in this discussion?
There's a few in the chat. I don't know if we got to them all. There's
one guy in the chat that if Ryan Day wants to ask Sark how to beat Michigan, he'll probably tell him after the game. If you needed help, like, hey, how do we do this? And Sark knows how to. So I think if Sark were able to help Ryan Day out after that game, hey, here's some tips on how you can beat Michigan. You know what? I think that would make Ohio State's fans delightful.
If I'm Sark, I'm still keeping that to myself. See if Michigan can knock them out so I don't have to play them again. I
was about to say, you may have to play them again, but I don't think you're going to have to face them for a while outside of that home game they're getting in a year or two. The Bryce Underwood experience is already an experience.
Texas versus Ohio State could be a regular playoff thing.
Yeah, you're right.
Don't help them.
Yeah.
Someone asks if the Ohio State played a 3-3-5, does that mean Texas can run on them Harbaugh style?
3-3-5. Isn't that what Patterson ran? Runs at TCU?
That was the
4-2-5?
Yeah. I don't know about that. Harbaugh made bludgeoning people a way of life for Michigan football. You can't just flip a switch and run the ball like Harbaugh.
Especially when you don't have 6 fifth-year senior tight ends on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not running a 3-3-5 against that defense. Just that's or excuse me.
Maybe they should have last year.
I mean, just personnel-wise,
something different.
I don't. If a team's lining up in 13 personnel, you do not have 5 defensive backs on the field. That's just not how it works.
Their strength would be a 4-3. To be honest with you, their linebackers.
Yeah, but you remember. What was the Sark year? Was it 2020 where they're like, we're running a 4-4 and then Devonta Smith had like 300 yards in that Bama game?
Yeah.
Was that? Yeah.
That was they had a
Grinch.
They had an ace. No, not Grinch. That was much earlier. They had an ace cornerbacks coach, kind of like their own Akina. And then everybody left. And since he was so good, they were like, well, we just got to make him the defensive coordinator because he's been here cranking out first-round defensive backs.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. He's an older guy.
He's an older white guy. So they put him in charge of the defense, and it went even worse than when Aquino was made defensive coordinator at Texas.
Kerry Coombs.
They got killed. Kerry Combs. Yeah, he was an amazing coach, though. Assistant.
He was. This is a good one from Andrew Baker. Does anybody see this like the 06 game, Ohio State at Texas in reverse? Redshirt freshman versus a hyped up first year starter with experience defending champ at home against an elite D. Yeah, I mean,
if Arch Manning is Troy Smith, I will drink that.
You're not going to see like carbon copy.
Scenario.
You're not going to see like carbon copy, like yes, exact, but there's enough similarities there.
There's a few. I mean, it's a good question. I mean, I remember that game very, very well. That would basically tell you, I mean, essentially in that scenario, who's going to be Anthony Gonzalez for Texas? Is it going to be Livingstone?
Yep.
Is it going to, okay, well then if Texas can get Livingstone on Ohio State's third best corner, you could have some fun with that.
That might happen though.
Do what?
That might happen though.
No, I know. It worked for Ohio State. Hey, history repeats itself. It worked for Ohio State. Look, they abused Brandon Foster and Ryan Palmer, whoever was trying to cover him inside. badly. And that was a big part of that game. Plus, Colt was, it was the second game he had ever played. James Laurinaitis played really well. Their defense was good, but Troy Smith was the big player in that game. A couple big throws, big shots down the field.
Yeah, I was there for that.
So
Ian still thinks Texas was lucky to beat Ohio State in 2005. That's not what I've said. But that was that game.
They weren't lucky, but my God, that was a really, really, really good Ohio State team. That was probably the best. That was easily the best defense they faced in a 2 or 3 year stretch.
I would say that the myth making around that game has diminished the role of the defense, which bailed Vince Young out of some of the worst. If you could watch some of the interceptions Vince Young threw in that game now, you would be like, this guy is a joke. He should be playing wide receiver. He threw some bad picks in that game, and one of them was covered up for by an unbelievable Jamal Charles tackle.
Coming across the field, Jamal Charles leveled A.J. Hawk.
And then Vince Young leveled up in the game because Ohio State had to gear up so much to stop him from running that it opened up all this passing stuff. And eventually Vince settled down a little bit and hit all the big throws we remember to win that game. But the defense got put on their own side of the field on turnovers and things like
the defensive front is what won it for Texas because they kept giving them incredible field position and holding them to field goals.
So it wasn't lucky. It was more just that it wasn't it was much more of a complete team effort than people remember now. Because now you just look back and we're like, Vince Young did everything, blah, blah, blah.
That Ohio State defense was the best that program had seen in years. Like all three linebackers played in the league. Those DBs were good. The D line was good. And Santonio Holmes, that's how we discovered him. And he kind of came out of that as well.
I also have kind of had this take that if they didn't mess around with Justin Zwick and Troy Smith, that game looks way different. Troy Smith wasn't ready for that. Troy wasn't ready, but Tressel didn't handle it ideally.
Okay, Zwick, Troy's been playing for half the game. You come in the fourth quarter and try to engineer a drive. That wasn't going to happen because Justin Zwick was a poor man's Craig Krenzel, and Craig Krenzel's a poor man's Craig Krenzel. So it wasn't going to work. It wasn't ideal for those guys at the time. I think Troy Smith had to go through that, Joe, to be the Heisman Trophy winner the next year, to be more assertive, to take that job, to kind of do that. But you're right. That was not ideal, but neither one of those guys was going to move the ball.
That team ended up they finished 10-2. They were fourth in the AP. They went to the Fiesta Bowl. Who did they beat? Oh, they beat Notre Dame, and that was Brady Quinn, and you had A.J. Hawk and the split jersey.
Wasn't that Brady's sister dating A.J. Hawk?
Yeah.
Who looked a lot like A.J. Hawk. Oh, imagine A.J. Hawk with even longer hair. Come on, Brady. No wonder that radio show's so bad in the mornings.
Oh, man. I don't know how to transition from that, but I'll let Andre the Lawyer give us some time here, courtesy of LC.
This video is brought to you by Andre the Lawyer. If you're injured, trust the team that secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans with their injury case. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, and wrongful deaths. Don't let insurance tell you what your claim is worth. Hire Andre the Lawyer to fight for you. Principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait and call Andre the Lawyer today at 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. The contact information is in the description.
Trying to look for a little bit more to go over. We can go over the schedule for this upcoming weekend of college football, and I'll figure out a little bit more what we would.
Wait a minute, we got games this weekend?
Yeah. We got
Let's talk about them.
We got conference games this week.
Well, let's talk about them.
All right, let me get it pulled up. Courtesy of our friends at ESPN. I got to make sure I get this right because actually, let me try this. If anybody doesn't know, the best place to go find college football TV schedules, in my opinion, LSUfootball.net/TV schedule.htm. I know that sounds funny, but you're going to see why in just a second because these diehard LSU fans just find a place to put literally every single game in their TV schedule. So here we go. Finally found it. A little purple and gold on the screen, but here we are. I'm telling you, this is the best. It's better than the Barstool one.
Really?
So
you know what used to be the best one? That little box on the first inside page of the sports page every morning. That was the first place I'd look every morning to see what was going to be on TV that day. Woo! Those were the good old days.
All right, we'll talk a little bit about these games before we get to what's going on. More stuff about the Longhorns, but Farmageddon in Ireland, Iowa State, Kansas State. Lincoln Cure is out. They're doing all the different injury reports, but this one's the tight end that they were really, really proud of getting, but who's still also a freshman tight end who played rural football in Kansas.
And was a really good basketball player.
Yeah. This is I cannot imagine the idea of playing a conference game in Ireland for week 1, but
they're playing this game in Ireland?
yes.
Yeah. That's good stuff. That's good stuff, Big 12. Week 0 in Ireland with Kansas State and Iowa State. Oh, that's good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I remember when Casey Thompson led Nebraska in that game in Dublin.
Yes.
And like the first half, it was like Texas should have never let this guy get away. And then the second half was like,
oh,
I'm so glad this guy's not at Texas anymore.
That was an interesting watch. Anything on this game? I think Rocco Becht. We talk a lot about all the different
Avery
quarterbacks
Johnson's
in the Big
the guy
12.
in this game.
I think Rocco Becht's going to put
Avery's
himself
the better athlete. I'll give him that. Avery's the better athlete.
Rocco Becht's going to put him in first team All Big 12 conversation with.
Isn't that game. Anthony Becht's son?
Oh yeah,
I think so.
Tied in from the Jets.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as he doesn't make any bets.
He's a lot smaller than his dad, I think.
Yeah, that was a giant tight end.
Yeah, Rocco
as long as Iowa State doesn't, Matt Campbell's guys don't make any bets, I think they'll be okay.
What about moving on down? I mean, there's not a ton.
Incarnate Word at Nichols. Let me tell you something about that game. Thibodaux, Louisiana. That game is going to be so hot. Like humid hot, like heat index hot, like you're going to be miserable sitting in those stands in late August in Thibodaux, Louisiana. I have all the sympathy for those fans. Wow, that's going to be a hot, humid thing.
Fresno State and Kansas opening the new stadium. Have y'all seen videos of that stadium?
Yes, it looks really, really nice. Kansas did a really good job. They're going to have to play some big football in that stadium.
And then we do have a Texas opponent playing, Sam Houston at Western Kentucky.
Time to scout, says Coach Williams.
This will be a game where you will find out if that defensive exodus at Sam Houston really, really screwed them, because Western Kentucky is one of those teams that says, you know what, let's pass until we can't pass anymore. And then I also am curious who Sam Houston marches out at quarterback, just to see if they go with Matoya or if they go with one of the other guys. I don't think it matters, but it's a Texas opponent.
Don't they return their star quarterback from last year?
Yeah, but Phil Longo brought a quarterback he recruited to Wisconsin down to Sam Houston State, and the kid's also from the Woodlands. So 30 minutes away.
And that we remember that kid. That kid was
Toyer.
that was that kid that looked like Trevor Lawrence in the face, in the frame, not throwing the ball. But I remember him being a young guy, like as a freshman, throwing it. Hey, Roy Damn Mercer University, good job there, retired working man. That's an incredible reference. You know, that guy passed away like 6 months ago. That was sad. That was really, really good radio. No, Mateer was he was an interesting prospect because we saw him as like a freshman in high school coming up in the camps. And you thought, okay, this guy could be like a next big arm, next big quarterback. And, you know, he grew into a pretty good prospect. He just never became, I think, what everyone expected to. I didn't know he was at Sam.
So, yeah, long goes at Sam. Don't love that trajectory. Here's the thing. He didn't go there like, thank you, Wisconsin, but my time is done here. Like, he got fired from Wisconsin. And they're trying – because the air raid just didn't work for the big boys up in Madison.
Why would you even try that at Camp Randall is beyond me.
They were trying to modernize, but that –
not in Wisconsin. You know better. They should know better. Go get you 9 running backs, 14 offensive linemen, and run the dang ball.
This is going to be Sam Houston's going to be the worst team Texas plays this year, without a doubt.
I'm not sure about that.
I'm telling you,
I'm not sure about that either.
That entire defense left for North Texas. That entire defense that helped Sam Houston State to 10 wins is at North Texas. So
obviously they weren't that good anyway.
They won 10 games.
Or they wouldn't be in North Texas.
Chris, I don't want to see Malachi Nelson's name.
Well, here's the thing.
My son played with him the other night and beat the living dog out of me. And I didn't realize he was that fast in real life.
Here's the reason why Malachi Nelson's name has even popped up. If I can get this to work.
This is his 3rd or 4th school.
It's his 3rd school. We're hitting all the different Texas non-conference opponents. We're going.
I saw Malachi on 7, man. He could spin it. I was a little surprised he didn't do better in some of his other spots. But hey, give Scotty Walden a chance because Scotty is going to throw the ball.
Yes, UTEP they still have some of the good Austin P players that stuck around. They still have some decent players. They weren't atrocious. They just weren't good.
No.
UTEP, I think UTEP is going to contend for a bowl. I don't know if they'll make 6 wins, but they're going to be able to talk about it. There is no way Sam Houston State may not win 3 games. So that's my take. But yeah, Malachi Nelson. We know who the quarterbacks are.
If UTEP quarterback is Malachi Nelson, then I'm definitely more afraid of Sam Houston than them.
Okay, we're gonna have to make a little friendly bet out of this. I don't know.
Does Texas beat worse?
Yeah, but that's I don't know if that's the right way to go about it. We'll figure something out. But I'll have a little bit more faith in UTEP than I will in Sam Houston. Figured out what we need to close with, though.
I'll say this. Texas better beat Ohio State or that month of games after Columbus. Oh, it's going to be a long month.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Eric the other day wrote some good stuff about, why there are concerns, why, I always joke with him. It's like you need to write the gas and the brakes before every season. He wrote about the brakes. We're not going to go over that. But he wrote about the gas, like why Texas, you can have confidence in this team to be possibly standing there at the end in January. And Justin, this one's big. It's simple, but it's true. This team recruits well. It plays hard, and they've got good coaches. And not everybody can say the exact same.
I can tell you just from experience of covering this team, as the 2 other gentlemen that are sitting with me, the program hasn't been in better hands in a long time. The roster is deep. That was the first thing I noticed last year in that first practice. This year, it's more of the same. Just a very deep, complete team. There's holes here. There's holes everywhere. That's the fun thing is I don't think there's one team this year that's just that you sell out for that. Okay, that's the team everybody's chasing. It could be Texas in a sense, but I don't necessarily think it's Texas yet either. This roster's just full. It's full of talent. They have recruited well. They have developed well. They have been very judicious in the portal. Sark understands the temperament of this era of college football as good as anybody, as well as anybody. And I think that's one reason Texas is number one in the country going into the game. I think they put themselves in position. Do I think they're the number one team? I don't know that yet. Let's roll the ball out there, spot the damn ball, and let's figure it out. I don't know that yet, but I know this. I don't know if there's another program, if I'm a fan, that I'd want to attach my wagons to when it comes to talent for talent, pound for pound. I was watching the SEC network last night, and they were going through the top players, the top 10, top 11 players in the SEC. Anthony Hill was number 2. Like that, everyone talks Arch. They talk Colin Simmons. This team is just loaded. And so, yeah, Eric makes a great point here. The program is strong. The depth is strong. NIL is strong. There's an alignment at the top that everyone's kind of all going in the same direction. Now they're giving the keys to Arch Manning, and let's see how he can drive.
Ian, I'm kind of curious because so much of what we highlight from you is X's and O's related, and, chalkboard, stuff like that. And I know when you're on your Substack, you're very good at talking about the cultural aspect of it. But as someone who looks at the sport very often from the X's and O's perspective, how important to you is that cultural part of, the rising tide does get these great players to try really hard to be in the right spot?
It definitely matters. I mean, you can tell the programs that can bring in the top talents and get guys to really be all in, and the programs that are taking chances on talented guys that may not be the best, may not be as devoted. And you can tell which programs have like a steady hand on the wheel, and they can problem solve, and they can plan ahead, and they can patch holes. And then the programs that are always like sticking their finger, like slapping the tape in the busted glass and hoping that it holds, I like to reference memes that nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm searching that one.
Yes, I know the Flex Seal one. Okay.
Yeah.
It took me a second.
Like Oklahoma right now, like you identify some problems, they identify the problems. You can see them working hard to fix the problems, and then some different problem comes up. And Venables is just fumbling all the groceries and he can't handle it. Texas is always much more on top of things. So I think all those things make a huge difference. They have good infrastructure. I don't have them number one in the country. I'm not going to pick them to win the national championship. I think next year is going to be the better bet for Texas. But, I mean, they're going to be a great team again. So it'll be fun to watch them.
And see, I know who your title pick is, and I know why it's your title pick.
I got a couple I've been going back.
He's all over Clemson.
Yeah,
He's buying Dabo Swinney stock right now with his feet.
Everybody's buying Clemson stock right now. Me and Paul were out on this like before the playoff game was over last year. We're like, okay, if they fix that defense and get somebody that knows what they're doing, this team is going to be deadly next year. And now everybody else
beside Peter Woods, and they've got some good young linebackers.
They have a lot of freaking dudes.
Their talent is at the skill guys on offense.
Alabama is my other one though. Alabama has a lot.
I can tell you. Okay, Ian, let me give you this little bit of insight. I've got a source at Alabama. That quarterback situation is not good.
I don't think that needs to be that good.
I wholeheartedly disagree.
I'm not.
Anyway, speaking of good quarterback situations, one of Eric's reasons for confidence this year is Texas quarterback situation. And we're all here because Arch throws bombs. That's the exciting part. But if the bomb's not open, Justin, and I'm going to write about this later today, like there's a chance that he could pick up the 10 to 15, move the sticks, get another crack at it, and have another chance to throw bombs, which is really important.
Yeah. So Jack Indries is the guy you need to know here. That's going to be the guy I think he's going to get a lot of targets this year. Arch has a gunslinger mentality. We know that. He's a grip it and rip it style kid. If the deep ball is there, if that option's there, there's a lot of times he's going to go with that. This is going to be a fun year for Sark to try to coach him up in that regard, because he's going to have a lot more progressions than Quinn Ewers had, and he's going to need to go through them. And I'm telling you, if that deep ball is not there, that's okay. Live to fight another down. What does his grandfather tell him after every phone call? Get down, get out of bounds. That's exactly what he needs to do. Get that ball. Hey, if you can't get the chunk yardage, nickel and dime them. Take what they're going to give you. And I think that's the beauty of a Jack Indries. Like I was worried about how that tight end situation would work with Gunnar Helm headed to the league. Indries coming in, I think, is like the most underrated aspect of this offense. He's not only as good as Gunnar, but he's gonna be the exact same thing that, like, how Quinn used him, in the sense they'll scheme him open. They'll be able to run 12 personnel where they'll have a really good inline guy and he can be the flex. Quinn Ewers is that's going to be the biggest thing with Quinn, is like, what's going to happen when he does hit some adversity? What's going to happen when he does throw some picks and take some bad sacks and things of that sort? Because it's going to happen. It happens to every quarterback that's ever played the game. But my goodness, Jack Indries, when the deep ball is going to be there, but when it's not, he has some check down stuff, and these guys are good at it. I think Jack's going to be huge.
One of the other things is with, Arch and what you mentioned with the get down and get out of bounds, he realizes it's because that right arm is what pays the bills. That right arm is what gets Red Bull, not necessarily the legs. It helps.
Yeah, he'll tell you the legs are part of it, but they're not.
No, that's for Vory. Red Bull's for the right arm.
I was about to say.
One other thing that Eric talked about that we were talking about.
I can't believe he said defense wins championships.
Justin, you got to pack your defense on the road.
Oh.
You got to stop the run, and you can't let teams establish the run. You got to get guys on the ground. You got to use a sideline as a 12th defender. You got to hustle hard every single play, 100%. You got to line up and beat the man across from you. You just got to, win your battles one-on-one. You just have to want it more than the opponent. And that's how defense wins championships.
That sounded – I'm not insulting you, Joe, but that did sound a little like Skip Bayless. It's whoever wants it more. And they had Mark Cuban on First Take, and he's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. They all want it more. Now, the thing about this defense does win championships. The reason defense gets you into championships, like, and this defensive front is going to be the bell cow for this team. Linebacker plays huge. Secondary is going to be huge. But if you can't run the ball in Texas, if they make you one-dimensional, that's where this group thrives.
Ian, can they do all right without Barron and Makuba?
I don't know.
No,
they can replace Makuba.
It's
Barron that scares me. They can replace Makuba. Makuba wasn't even starting last year.
I didn't even think about what I was doing. Oh man,
we're looking at Littleton as a major contributor this year, like a starter basically, which is he was like one of my favorite recruits, but I feel like we're all kind of whistling past the graveyard a little bit on the. Texas is going to play Ohio State with a freshman nickel. I mean,
not. Jelani McDonald's going to be there.
I think it's going to be a lot more Littleton than we think.
I think it's going to be a lot more Littleton week 2 through week 5, but he's going to get run in Columbus.
Yeah, that's something. That's not nothing.
Well, maybe that's why they've been putting Jeremiah Smith in the slot, so they can get that mismatch.
I mean, they almost don't even have to. All their dudes are terrifying.
Right.
If they do, then that's even worse.
I should not have opened the door. We're here in the confidence part of the preseason, and
we're in the trust tree, Joe.
Well, I think I wrote about this on Inside Texas. Like every now and then, not every now and then, and I think we'll be able to see why. Basically, as long as I've been doing this, like I have a concern spike right around this time of year. Like,
yeah, I think that's. I feel like that's normal. When you said that, I was like, that sounds like. I think we all do that a little bit.
But
I'm still doing it.
I no. Here's the thing: over the past couple of years, and maybe it's just kind of hopeless optimism, but like, there's not as much reason for a concern spike because we have so much data. Like, think about when my concern spikes would pop up during the Strong and Herman years because they didn't have those summer sessions with the football. So you hear about these throwing, sessions with guys working on their own, and yeah, it was good. He caught the ball and all that type of thing. But now they actually get to work with the football and do things to where, like, okay, Littleton, who's in his first semester at Texas, which is an issue going against Smith and Ennis and Tate and all those guys. But that he did okay enough against, and okay enough is a problem, but he did okay enough against Wingo, Livingston, Moore to have earned the coach's trust already. Whereas maybe in years past, where like the first time they get the football as a camp and you're like, freshman, what the hell? Like that doesn't, it's a concern, but it's still there. And injuries are different, but it's just one of those things where even with the tackle stuff, like we know, I think the concern spike is usually a surprise, and it's not like there's been a major surprise because of those summer workouts that feed data to us.
It's more OTA style now, which means it's more hands-on, which means the kids are getting more instruction and they're going to be more prepared in theory. And I think that's why you can justify a Grayson Littleton right now. Also, you're putting him in a bunch of guys that you don't necessarily have to cover up for him, but you got a lot of guys around him that are going to do really good at their job. And so I think that helps him as well. And not forget, like, Jelani's going to play there as well. And Jelani is so good. Like, people don't understand. That kid's going to be so good in the NFL. And I have no idea what position he's going to play. I've seen him play corner tremendously. Like, this kid can do a lot of things. But Grayson Littleton was a light in the springtime because this was a concern. They didn't know exactly how they wanted to operate it. Jelani's a lot better at playing safety than he is nickel. And the team knows that, and Jelani knows that. And so it was more out of a need, a necessity in a sense. But in this era where there's so much more hands-on, Joe, you're right. Like, it's not like a freshman showing up out of high school, just left the prom, and now he's got to go run, 16 110s to get in shape for practice. These guys are going at this pro style since February.
I'll hit this real quick because I think
you're getting at, like, usually there's like something that comes up in the fall and preseason camp where you're like, wait, I didn't even know to be worried about that.
Yeah, like the running back position last year.
Yeah. Or just something that just comes up, or it's just like, wait, this position group's not very good. Really? I thought that we were fine there. Is that what you kind of mean?
Yeah.
I think maybe some things like that have concerned me.
Fair. I see we're getting probably some Ohio State people in. Who cares that the defensive coordinator has not been in college for 20 years, busy winning Super Bowl championships? Well, those Super Bowl defenses are pretty complicated, very complicated. Can he teach a very, very complicated defense with the limited time that he's had in Columbus? That's the big question.
And without Bill Belichick.
And it's not working well.
He needs, honestly, the thinker needs to be thinking about how they can beat Michigan. Like, I understand Texas is week one, but guys, you've been getting it handed to you by that team up north, and it's not good, man. You got a better team, a better program, and you're getting beat by inferior talent. And so while you're sitting there thinking about Matt Patricia's run with the New England Patriots, start thinking about stopping that run against Big Blue, because Savion Hitter is coming for you.
And, has the best.
See, he's not thinking anymore. Now he's just spewing. There's a difference in being the philosophical thinker and then just throwing up on a keyboard. And he has just puked all over his keyboard. Like somebody's got to go get a napkin. It's nasty.
It's not even the best Ohio State coaching staff in the past 2 years.
It's not. It's not even close.
And there's a staff.
Michigan has done the belt to the butt so much to Ohio State. They won a national championship last year, and they still can't get over the fact they couldn't beat Michigan. Did Michigan even make a bowl last year?
Yeah, they beat Bama.
Yeah, they did.
They didn't, or they did?
They beat Bama.
They did make a bowl. Michigan made a bowl last year? Alabama made a bowl last year? Oh, my gosh.
Back to Texas.
I was waiting for Joe to do that.
We got to get this.
Listen, Joe, we got to be able to move. We have to be versatile. Sometimes the comments change our defense. We got to change from man to zone. Like sometimes we just got to switch it up. We got to go with the flow.
Improve special teams. This is huge for me. And the point
you wrote about it extensively a couple Sundays ago.
Yeah. The point I continue to make is that, you know what, you can look at it on the surface. And I think, and Paul has also talked about this. You can look at it on the surface and see and hope that Mason Shipley and Jack Bouwmeester are better than Bert Auburn and Michael Kern. And I think those are reasonable things. Paul has gone on and on about how Texas just couldn't return kickoffs at all last year. True. Yeah, they got to improve there. He's gone on and on about how Texas didn't get a punt block last year. Yeah, that's true. But the real important thing, in my opinion, is one of the reasons that the Texas defense in 2023, even with some secondary issues, was so good was because you couldn't run against Sweat and Murphy, but you had Ryan Sanborn flipping the field. So you're still going against a good defense, but you have to get your opportunities and convert on a higher level. Whereas if the field's not as long, if you have one fewer first down to have to get, you have one fewer first down to have to get before you're in scoring range. That's what's going to be the thing that really helps. I know Jeff Banks said net punting, but net punting I don't think measures like field position. Field position being something that Texas actually gets an advantage for, I think is going to help so much in addition to the more punt yardage, higher field goal make percentage, stuff like that.
Joe, Michael Dixon taught us how important a great punter is.
Yeah.
He really did. Like before Michael Dixon, I thought it was Ray Guy, Reggie Roby, and nobody else. Like I thought that was the only people that were worth punting. And then we saw Michael Dixon, and we saw just how valuable changing field position is, pinning a team inside the 20. I don't know if people remember, I guess it was the 2003 Holiday Bowl when Texas lost to Washington State. How many times they got pinned inside the 20 by that stinking punter? Like it was ridiculous amount of times. And so that it's valid, Joe. Like to me, it's huge. And we're not even talking about the elephant in the room. If Mason Shipley can hit half of the regular basic kicks that Burt missed last year, Texas is a national contender. Like it's that valuable. It's that important to Jeff Banks, and we know how Jeff Banks views that third side of the football.
Ian, you had kind of mentioned running back not being special, being weak, being good, but
it's good, not great.
You got four right there who kind of like we talk about with defensive tackle. Hey, give us 5 all-out snaps, and then we'll sub you off. And give us 3 all-out rushes, then we'll sub you off. And they have varying styles, but again,
and running backs will tell you, Joe, that's not – they don't like that.
Right. Yeah, you want to find
but the committee thing is here to stay. The shelf life is just short.
Ian, do you think increased confidence in CJ Baxter and maybe increased usage is something that'll benefit this team?
If CJ Baxter is a good running back this year, that will help this team.
Huge.
But they don't really have like a great running back otherwise. So that's good.
Jonathan Brooks helped out Quinn Ewers more than we even talk about.
Oh, yeah. Jonathan Brooks was really good.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what you need for those young quarterbacks getting their feet wet.
Yeah.
Arch has some guys, but which one of those guys could potentially be a Brooks? We have to watch. We have to see that put into fruition.
Last year, they were really good at opening holes until they got to the red zone. And Trey Wisner was really good at taking what was there.
Yes.
They had zero maximization of runs last year. They didn't have anybody that could break through a hole too fast for the defense.
It was just Arch.
They couldn't break tackles.
No, they did. He was just unreliable in blue.
Yeah, they had a home run hitter in Jaden Blue. They did.
You're right.
But you could get Jaden Blue running into the right guard when he didn't need to.
Or you could get Jaden Blue with a hangnail and trying to set out a Saturday.
Let me be dystopian for 1 second.
Oh shit!
What if running back is actually worse because they don't have the occasional home run pop from Jaden Blue? Because Jaden Blue was so frustrating and so inconsistent, but he also made a couple big plays in 2 different playoff games. He was all they had against.
And he caught 6 touchdowns?
Yeah, they were check down guys. And that's partially Quinn, but that's partially their ability. They were often check down targets, and Wisner and Blue were good for that role. But you'd rather they be getting the yardage on the ground.
They need somebody to be able to punch it in around the goal line. If they have that. If they have that, then that's a huge improvement. It's probably the most important. And then if Niblet can just give a little bit of what Blue did, that would be just great. We feel solid about all that. Not as good as when they had Brooks or as when they had Bijan and Roshan, but it's better.
Ian, what about the interior? More gaps. More, I want to say more and primarily just because they run all that, but more is true. More gap stuff.
I think that's going to help. I think maybe more so the fact that Manning is going to hold defensive attention more with RPOs and keepers than Kewers did by a long shot. So that's another bit. I'm not really worried about the run game, but I don't know if I need to see it a little bit in terms of is this running back room really going to make as much of the possibilities as say a Brooks would? And if they do, this team is going to help this team so much just to get through the regular season without any hiccups. If you can trust CJ Baxter to make the most of playing with Manning in the scheme, then this season will be so much easier until they get to the playoffs, which would be ideal.
And you don't need that home run threat. I mean, it's always good to have, but it's not necessarily essential.
Yeah, the red zone and short yardage is way more important.
Yes.
Speaking of short yardage, size, that's where you can win those battles with some of your edges, with your defensive tackles, with your offensive linemen, and with a 6'1", 230-pound running back. And then Ian, they still got the fast guys on the outside too.
Yeah, they have this section. This is what I'm getting at about 2026, because Texas has all these amazing athletic specimens on campus, and the vast majority of them are also going to be here in 2026 after years of experience and hopefully some playoff games under their belt. It's the program's in amazing shape. Can see title shots in the future, but this particular season, I'm just not quite there.
And then schematic versatility, the last thing that Eric goes into. Sark likes to say, if we can run a lot of different things well, that's tough to defend. He believes it more than Texas' previous head coach. And Justin, just looking at what Texas offers, when you think about they got to get Ryan Niblet involved, they've got to get Jack Hendry's involved, Spencer Shannon's becoming a player they trust. They have all these different players. This is a team that's going to attack in multiple ways.
They are. And we talked about this guy earlier. Jack injuries, I think, is so important to this group. Maybe the most important of the offensive adds in the offseason. Like this guy, just he makes he makes you play more honest defense. He makes you pay more attention to every aspect of the field, and like we talk about at length, they love running 12 personnel, and they do a lot of good out of that. Injuries, like I said earlier, this guy is going to be so valuable, not so much for a check down, but just as a safety blanket. Every young quarterback needs a good running back, a good O-line, and that safety check down blanket. And I think Jack's going to offer that and more.
Ian, anything else on here? I feel like you kind of cover this week to week, day to day.
Love the schematic versatility on this team. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to get into all the different stuff they do with Arch and to get into all the stuff that PK will get up to with all these pass rushers. Most weeks, you're not going to hear me talking about the secondary. You're going to hear me talking about how PK short-circuited the entire offense with Colin Simmons. So it's going to be great.
I think that's the first time we mentioned his name this whole episode. And
there's a lot of guys to talk about with this team.
I know. That's why
the beginning of the show, Joe was reading the old drafts where two of our writers would draft Longhorns to build a Longhorn team to play the others. And he read like me and Eric's picks from 2015, and it was awful.
Taylor Doyle was an early round pick.
Yeah, after like round 4, it just went sideways.
Nowadays, it's like each team is going to have multiple NFL draft prospects, and both teams are going to be like, could this team win the Big 12? Maybe.
I took all the tackles. Go read that on Inside Texas. And to join Inside Texas, use the link in our description. Join for $1. Join the best Texas Longhorns website, best recruiting coverage, best team coverage, best everything you can find pertaining to the Longhorns, and you'll get a full year of The Athletic. Go buy our guy Paul Wadlington, Stinking Texas Football. Every position, every player, every team on the schedule, every SEC member, a look around the college football landscape, and a look at the 2025 class from Eric Naline. Last but not least, 40th anniversary tour starts next week. Be in Houston, Dallas, and Austin. Houston will be at Big City Wings on the Marquee on Tuesday the 26th. Happy hour from 5 to 7, trivia from 7 to 9. Wednesday, it'll be in Dallas at Katy Trail Icehouse downtown. Happy hour 5 p.m. And on Thursday, Little Woodrow's on Burnet. Happy hour 5 to 7, trivia from 7 to 9. I'll try to make as many of these as I can, but I know I'll be at the Austin one, so it should be a lot of fun. Ian, we got the deep dive at noon today. More Patricia stuff, correct?
Yeah, we're going to start to introduce Ohio State and previewing the Ohio State game. It's going to be 2 weeks of Ohio State coverage on the deep dive because that's what we all want to talk about anyway, right?
Exactly. Going to be a lot of fun. So, all right, everybody, thank you for watching. Justin, Ian, thank you all. We'll see you next time on IT Live, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.